legal and constitutional concerns. This morning we speak with renowned lawyer and activist in Madam Linda Kasonde. Happy Women's Month, Madam Kasonde.
Thank you, Malama, and same to you. Hello, Justin, as well. And hello, listeners out there.
Good morning to you, ma'am, and happy Women's Month. Thank you for joining us on the Diamond Breakfast. We would like to start off our chat by just talking about the president and his pronouncement. He was over in Kasama talking about having to amend the constitution, and him saying this based off of one thing, that there is need to give women an opportunity, especially within the different spheres here in this country. But I would like to get your sentiments there, just from there, looking at how amending the constitution is just not the easiest of processes to have to implement.
Thank you very much for that question. So firstly, I think the timing of the statement by the president is very interesting, because it was on Women's Day, and his basis for making the pronouncement was saying that we now have consensus around the issue of constitutional amendments, and one of the reasons we want to do it is to increase the participation of women in governance. And so just to unpack that, firstly, it's very strange that the president now says we have consensus. In May last year, I was on a webinar which was reported in the press with Professor Muna Ndulo and O'Brien Kaba, and we were discussing constitutional amendments. And my position on that webinar, which was reported on the 20th of May last year, was that it was too risky to make constitutional amendments so close to general elections, which will be held in 2026. And the following day, the 21st of May, the chief government spokesperson and ruling party spokesperson, Cornelius Mwetwa, said that he agreed with my position that it was too dangerous and risky to hold to make constitutional amendments too close to the general election. And then in September of 2024, the president made an address to Parliament in which he said, I think, that there was now consensus. So basically the government has been shifting goalposts over this issue for a while. And we can't understand. In September, actually, it was September 2024, the president said there hadn't been consensus on this issue. It was reported in the press. So how the consensus has been arrived at between September 2024 to today's date, we don't know, because we haven't seen wide engagement with the public over this issue. And also, let me just say that in a fairly recent address to Parliament, the president said that due to budgetary constraints, there would be limited consultation. So again, we haven't seen this consultation process. And maybe also just to mention that any legislative process in Zambia must be made in line with the national values and principles, which are in the Constitution. And amongst those national values and principles are the principle of democracy, constitutionalism, and good governance. And all those three factors must involve participation of the citizens in governance. So basically, we first of all, there's no consensus. Secondly, there's no consultation. And then also, just on the point of wanting to include more women in governance, the Constitution already has provisions which require the government in making appointments to appoint more women. And we've seen that they haven't been consistently doing that to a satisfactory level. And in fact, when I was at Chapter 1 Foundation, we sued the government for failing to adhere to the principles of gender equity in the appointments to public office. So this is very disingenuous of the government.
Now, I'd like to know, I like, that you've touched that the Constitution does provide, for women appointments. Do you think there's need for any further reforms to be added to widen that, and which is the participation of women, or is it fine as it is? And also, I mean, this is what the president's third, or is it fourth, Women's Month celebration, or to have him commemorate Women's Month. Do you think? I'm trying to find the politically correct words to use here, but do you think this is just